Hello, my name is Georgia, or Georgia Altair, and today I wanted to talk about some of the things I've been knitting this past month, some of the things I've finished, works in progress, and some of my intentions and yarn acquisitions for next projects. Also, this is my first time filming any sort of knitting podcast. I've been an avid consumer of knitting podcasts for the past couple months. I don't know, I find a lot of joy out of sitting and watching, doing my knitting, seeing what someone else is doing. And I found that it's honestly one of my favorite ways for finding other knitting patterns and getting inspiration and ideas. And so I don't know, I thought that maybe this month I would try sharing what I've been up to, can maybe help inspire someone else, or also just, I don't know, document for my own sake, see what I've been up to and have something that would be fun to watch and look back on. And so anyways, I'll probably just get into it. I apologize in advance if I'm a little bit awkward. I feel like jumping in front of a camera is not at all natural to me. And definitely, I don't know, it took a little bit of courage, took a little bit of having to grin and bear it and be like, okay, I'm gonna feel uncomfortable. But hopefully my excitement for what I'm working on comes through and we can all ignore the awkwardness and the little bobbles. But anyways, thank you for watching and let's go ahead and get started on what I've been knitting. Okay, so I guess I can get started with what I'm wearing, which is, this is the Fleur camisole. I'm forgetting the designer's name. So I'll try to drop that down below. But I really wanted to make this for, I think it was one of my first actually saves on Ravelry, like top first 3, I guess. And so I'm super obsessed with the pattern, have been wanting to make it for forever, and just, you know, wasn't feeling confident enough to try the lace knitting for a bit. And I made this out of Bad Sheep's yarn, Mulberry silk, in the color Orchid. And it's definitely a little bit of a pricier yarn. I got it as a beautiful Christmas gift from my mother, so thank you, Mom. Love it. I know I keep on telling you that, but I'm really truly so obsessed with this yarn. But I really wanted to try to see if I could like just do one skein of it. Since again, it is a lot pricier and I feel like the yardage that you need for this pattern is like just beyond one skein of fingering weight yarn. And so I managed to do it. I was definitely playing yarn chicken and there was like a little bobbles with that. I ended up actually having, I want to say like 10 grams of yarn left over, so I wish I made it just a teeny bit longer. But overall, I'm super happy with this pattern. Let me see if I can try to sit up a little bit so you can see it more. So again, it's just like a lace pattern repeat all over. When I was first making it, I remember I like split for the tops because it's bottom up, which is, you know, a little bit harder when you're playing yarn chicken. And I split for the V's and I like realized I did it a little bit too early and was like, oh, have to go frog it, and definitely put it on hold for a little bit after making that mistake just because I was feeling the loss of motivation. But I'm super happy I finished it. It's one of my favorite knit tops. Again, I just think this yarn is so beautiful. It pairs so nicely with the pattern. And I feel like it's great to just have a pattern that you know you can do with like one skein of fingering weight yarn. I feel like probably a lot of us have, you know, just a skeiner or something that we don't quite know what to do with sitting around. And so this is a great option for that. I'm trying to think if I have any other thoughts. But yeah, no, I again really love it. I'm super happy I made it. I feel like I definitely wear a lot of my stuff more cropped, so it's not like where I would tuck it in. It is like definitely a more cropped hits at like where my pants maybe fit, but I'm totally okay with that. I think it was super worth it to be able to do it just with the one ball. So yeah. I guess I'll get into some finished objects. So I guess maybe we'll first start off with this project, which is what I finished about a month ago. So I guess we're sort of maybe gonna go chronologically. I don't know if I'm gonna hold myself to that. It might just be grab whatever I see first on the stack. But this is the Porcelain sweater by Lynette. And I'm absolutely obsessed with this. I think so many people are knitting it. I felt so inspired. And it's just a beautiful design, beautiful sweater. And so I knit this in Knitting for Olive in their fingering merino as well as the soft silk mohair. And this was actually my first time knitting for Olive, with Knitting for Olive. And I really liked it. I feel like I do a lot of my yarn shopping. I feel like I'm really, you know, I like to touch stuff. I feel like I'm very fiber oriented where the yarn will often inspire me. And so I feel like it's, you know, I've always been a little bit trepidatious about ordering stuff online that I haven't seen the colors, I haven't felt it before. But I had heard such rave reviews, I was like, okay, clearly I need to try it. And I'm really glad I did. However, a couple things, definitely it's a light fingering, I guess. And I don't know whether it's just because the pattern is like supposed to be slightly like more loose, airy gauge, or if it's because my yarn choice was a light fingering with the mohair opposed to more standard fingering weight yarn with the mohair. But it's supposed to be knit on 4mm needles. And I was like doing my, did the first back panel and was like, it's definitely way more airy than I wanted. And so I ended up dropping down to, I want to say 3mm needles. And that definitely compressed the brogue gauge, as well as, it made it denser, but it meant that even though I sized up, it was getting like a slightly shorter sweater. And so I ended up extending the sweater by 1 motif. So it's supposed to be just the like 1, 2, 3, top 3 motifs that are all distinct, but I added in this 4th motif that's just a repeat of the initial one, where my color retention was much better. I was on a plane flight to Australia doing this in the dark and also extremely tired, and you can really tell it. So ignore just some of the tension issues that are going on. I guess the other thing to note is like I didn't switch needle sizes for the color work sections, which I don't think it was recommended, and I really wish I did. My tension is definitely like tighter on the color work, and I don't actually block with like blocking pins and needles as I should. And so there's definitely, especially like in the arms where again I added that extra 4th motif, you can really see the like variation in width, and it bugs me a little bit, but not enough to like buy blocking mats yet, I guess. But again, yeah, overall really happy. I'm glad I did the modification. I think it was extremely easy. I just switched the needle size, and then I want to say I maybe cast on like a couple extra stitches in the underarm. I did like just some like very basic math to see what the stitch count needed to be divisible by for the color chart, and so just did that, cast on a couple stitches just to make it a little bit wider, even though I had sized up 1 size as I was dropping down 1 needle size. And yeah, I think overall the fit's great. It's still quite an oversized fit. The length is great. It's again oversized length, oversized fit. I just love it, and I'm really glad that I have this denser fabric that I don't know, personally prefer. And again, I don't know if that was an issue for me just using the knitting for olive that's slightly thinner, or if that's just, the style of the pattern and it's just a personal preference. But if that was something you wanted to do, I think it's a really easy switch, and I definitely thought it was worth it. Okay, I guess the next finished object I'll talk about, I finished just last week. I was doing this, I don't watch sports really at all, but I finished this sock watching the Super Bowl. Was fun. So now I feel like I have this weird Super Bowl connotation with it, even though I don't know, they're not like themed for the Super Bowl or anything. But these are just vanilla socks knit in Arcane Fiberworks filled with joy colorway. And so this is part of their mystery sock subscription. This was, I want to say, the December color. And just an absolutely beautiful color. It's this, really vibrant, happy yellows with greens and blues. And as you'll see, I love green. I'm gonna have basically, I think all my whips right now are green yarn. And so obviously this isn't totally green, but I love the color palette it creates. And again, this is just using Crazy Sock Ladies like vanilla sock pattern on 9-inch circular needles. I guess the only modifications is I always do a twisted rib cuff, and I make the length of the leg, like I want to say half the length she recommends. Just because for me, I don't like to, I don't know, I did the full length the very first time I did her patterns, and then I always have to fold my sock over and you see the pearls, and it just, not as cute, not the look I personally go for. And so these have definitely been worn. You can see like some felting on them, so I apologize for that. But I think, the yarn's beautiful. I always love Arcane Fiberworks sock yarn. And yeah, just was, a happy little quick knit. I always love having socks on the go to have something portable for, when I'm sitting, hanging out with friends, watching something, or just I'm at work on my lunch break. It's nice to have something like that to just pick up, do a couple rounds, be able to put down, and not really have to be thinking while doing. And so then the next work in progress I'll talk about is going to be this sweater vest here, which I guess I'll talk first about the yarn. So this yarn it's been a journey. This is Berroco Tiramisu in the colorway Espresso. And every time I do that, I'm like, oh, I wish I did something Sabrina Carpenter themed. But I feel like it's not Sabrina Carpenter themed, like brown espresso. It's giving much more sort of like blue shade variations. But yeah, so this is the sweater vest. The yarn, I was making a sweater for my friend who I was visiting in Spain this past October, who lives there, and was kindly hosting me to come see him. And I was trying to knit the sweater for him, and I was using this Berroco yarn, and then which is already a yarn that's like it's like has a strand of like some wool content and then held double with like a mohair already in the same ball. So it's already like 2 strands of something. And then I was holding it with a Noro skein that I'm forgetting what name of, or what, you know, what yarn product it was from Noro, but it was a Noro skein that was like a blue, very lightweight yarn. And so I was holding, you know, basically it's like 3 strands together, and I don't think I'd like gauge swatch, and I was making these sweater patterns, and he's a very similar to me sized person, and these sweaters kept on turning out massive, which again, lesson, I should have gauge swatched. But I kept on freaking out and being like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna need so much more of this Berroco Tiramisu yarn. And it was already discontinued at the point where I was like making this. Like I hadn't bought it that long prior, but like they stopped making the color. So I ordered a bunch of yarn from like 2 different like online stores and got all this yarn. And like prior to the yarn even arriving, but after I'd ordered it, I was realizing, oh my gosh, like I kept on making these sweaters and they kept on, you know, too oversized. I'd like get down to the yoke and be like, this is massive, it's like for a person twice his size, and frogging it all and restarting it. And on the 3rd iteration, I was just like, okay, I need to stop, and I need to like, I don't know, I just need to not do this. This project is not gonna work. And so I ended up making a sweater for me, where I found a pattern that was actually for more of like a bulky Aran weight gauge, which I think is what the 3 like strands together were coming out to be. And so I ended up having way more left over of this like Berroco Tiramisu yarn than I needed. And so I had like, you know, 4 to 5 skeins of this yarn that I didn't really know what to do with. And I also had these leftover buttons from when I made the book cardigan. I got 2 different button options and didn't end up going with these, but I thought they were so beautiful. And so in my mind, I just was like, okay, wait, I have this leftover quantity of yarn and these buttons. I should make a button-up vest. And after some online looking through Ravelry and through, I don't know, Google searching, I wasn't really finding a pattern that I was obsessed with that was like a button-up vest. And so I decided for this one, I didn't follow a pattern, I just sort of winged it. And I feel like it's very basic V-neck construction. I just did like some ribbing. I did a double knit button band that I was super happy with. And yeah, it's just super basic, nothing crazy. I wouldn't say that the arm fit is like 100% perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. And overall, it was really fun to like make something, not have to follow a pattern, and pretty much perfectly use up the yarn that I need to use up. Okay, so I guess I can talk about some works in progress next. And so my first work in project this is what I was working on this morning before filming. It's the Vivian Cardigan by kisskiss.rhinestones. And I've been obsessed with this pattern. I remember when she was first teasing on Instagram, I like saw it, was like, I need to save. I was like setting alarms or like reminders in my calendar for when she said it was going to be dropped. And then as soon as it was dropped, I bought the pattern, and then I was like, shoot, because I was reading it more carefully, and I was realizing it's recommended. There's 3 different types of Filcolana yarn, which I live in the States, and it's quite hard to acquire. I feel like for some reason in the States, like there's no sellers, I have to order online. And I was dead set on doing this color green tea that they have, and I was really struggling to find an online store that could send me like all 3 colors of yarn. One of them is like not technically the green tea, it's it's Basswood, the Arwetta yarn that's used for the facings. But I was really struggling to find a store where I could order all the yarn I needed from one place and only have to pay like international shipping once. And so finally I was able to like find a store and order it, and it arrived last weekend, last Saturday, so like almost a week ago exactly. And so I started it exactly a week ago, and we're just now at the bottom hem. I'm doing excuse my needles just being in the middle, but I have to do the facing that goes on the inside. And again, I'm just absolutely obsessed with this color, obsessed with this pattern. The raglan construction is so thoughtful. I hadn't ever done Japanese short rows before, but they were super easy. There was a link to a really helpful video of how to do it. It just felt like a breeze. And so I remember being a little, like, I knew I was super excited to do this, but I was a little trepidatious about like, how hard is this pattern gonna be, or is it gonna be confusing? And I felt like, no, it's really quite straightforward. If you've done a raglan construction before, like, you will be fine. But yeah, I'm super obsessed with this. I'm excited to finish the hem facing, interfacing, and the bottom, and bind that off and get started on the sleeves. Obviously it's the 2x2 ribbing, and it really, it shrinks down a little bit, but I'll maybe try to see if I have any cute photos of me in it. I don't know if I do yet. But yeah, absolutely obsessed. I'm really excited to finish this. And it just feels like such a treat to have something that I've been like, I don't know, waiting to do for so long. And now I'm finally able to work on it, and I'm just breezing through it. It's been lovely knitting, and I think it's going to be a beautiful product that I end up wearing quite a lot. So my next work in progress is another sock, and it's actually from, I have, my 52 weeks of sock knitting out. I was going to try to see if I could show the photo of the sock in the book, but I think I would accidentally end up sharing some of the pattern details. So I'll maybe just insert a photo. And then I'm using, and it's the Boixac sock. I'm totally mispronouncing that. I'm so sorry. I'll insert the name of the designer's name. But it's the most beautiful pattern. I'm just maybe like, I don't know, a third of the way through the first sock. I'm right to where I need to do my first like gusset increase row. It's toe up. And it's this beautiful, beautiful design. You have this like flower center thing with then a honeycomb cables on either side. And I'm just absolutely loving it. I haven't ever actually done baubles before. This is my first time doing like little baubles for the flowers. And so definitely the first section, I don't think I did a great job. But I actually, I learned to crochet when I was maybe 5 or 6, and then I learned to knit shortly after, and then was really into crocheting for most of my life. And only this past year really like picked knitting back up. But for the baubles, it was so fun because it's like this pattern just recommends to whip a crochet hook out. And I'm just, doing a crochet hook, and it's totally like a normal crochet stitch. So it was fun to sort of feel like I'm doing something that's melding the two together. And itching that part of like my brain that misses crocheting and is like, oh, maybe I should get back into it. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely obsessed with this. This yarn, also I should have said, is a lovely gift from one of my dear friends. And it is the Barnyard yarns in the shade Eucalyptus. It's just a beautiful, beautiful tonal green with just the most lovely variations. I'm loving how it's working up. Obviously on the front, I'm like, I love the pattern, the design is so cute. And on the back, I keep on staring at it and being like, oh, I love all these shades of green. I'm realizing it's extremely, extremely similar to the Vivian Cardigan color I'm working on right now, which just says how much I love this color. And how sweet and thoughtful of a perfect gift it was for me. So yeah, thank you again, Callie, if you're watching. I'm super excited to be working with this yarn. And so my next work in progress is again another whip where the yarn has been through quite a journey. And so one of the first projects I was trying to knit maybe about a year ago, or not, maybe like 9 months ago, was with this beautiful onion knit yarn from my mom that she'd given me for my birthday. And I was trying to make the blouse #1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I had already made like there's like the standard DK weight like non-mohair edition, and I had made like a short sleeve out of that, and for some reason I just was like, oh, I can just use the same pattern and the same needle size and do the mohair version, which definitely not true. Not in the same needle size, or not, whatever I did was wrong. And so I made this whole mohair thing, and it was on pullover long sleeve, I guess, sort of sweater. And it was massive. Like, it was just way too oversized on me, way too slouchy. I feel like it's already the boat neck and the just unhemmed, like unfinished sleeves, it's already a slightly more like simple look. And when it was just like super, super oversized, it was not doing it for me. But it was 2 strands of mohair held together. And so frogging it just felt like this like enormous feat. And so it took me forever to get around to frogging it. And I only did that like, maybe a month ago. And then finally now I'm re-knitting the Cumulus blouse, or I guess I should say knitting for the first time, but re-knitting with this yarn. Making the Cumulus blouse, the O-neck by Petite Knit. And just since that pattern is intended for the mohair, which I'm sure I know the blouse #1, there's like a mohair edition. So I should have just gotten that pattern separately and done that. Or just done the math to make my gauge correct. But I'm loving doing the Cumulus blouse. It's been a breeze. Very nice. I think the only thing I would say is, again, since the mohair's been frogged, there's sections where like the yarn is just not the neatest. Like the I don't know, I'll hold it up and I guess you can sort of see. Like there's definitely sections where you can see that I don't know, there's just extra sort of tufts of matted mohair that is, mixed in with the rest. And that definitely I'm gonna admit, it's definitely bugging me a little bit. But the yarn is just so beautiful that I'm like, it was worth it to like rip it back and do something that will fit me and that I will actually wear. And I get to knit it again, getting twice as much fun out of the same amount of yarn. But so again, yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with this color. It's more of a goldish sort of green. I'm forgetting the name, but again, it's the Onionkin silk. And I know some people don't like when the silk core is like different, but I think it just the silk core is so luminescent and is this bit of shine and sparkle to the mohair. And so yeah, I like kind of whipped through doing the yoke section, and then once I got to the body where you're just working stockinette in the round, I definitely lost a lot of momentum. I think I haven't done something that just like pure stockinette in the round for honestly a hot second, and it was definitely like, it's definitely getting to me. I was just like, wow, this is working so slow. I think it's on 4.5mm needles, so not teeny tiny, but just, you know, the progress in pure stockinette goes slowly. And so I'm loving doing it. I think it's going to be a little bit of a back burner project, but I'm super excited to see where it ends up and get the finished result and have something that I can wear a lot more. So yeah, that's that. I'll talk about some acquisitions. And so yesterday I was able to go down to San Diego and go to a yarn store I've really been wanting to go to, which is Apricot Yarn and Supply. It's apricot yarn and something, I'm forgetting the final word. But it was absolutely beautiful yarn store, beautiful selection. There was a lot of yarns, some Manister Erdway yarn that was really colorful, that I was really tempted by. And yeah, just lots of really cool, lots of fiber contents, lots of alpacas, some cashmere alpaca lace weight fluff yarn that I was really tempted by, just, you know, the whole works. So beautiful yarn store. I'm super glad I was able to go. And I was able to find this Scout yarn by Kelborn Woolens that I feel like I've heard other people review and really like, and so I've been wanting to try but never seen it in store. And it's in this color that I just think is absolutely beautiful and will be super useful for me. So this is a DK weight yarn. I got 4 skeins of it, and I'm kind of regretting not getting a 5th, which I'll talk about I guess a little bit later. But yeah, it's in this Autumn Heather is the color name. And I don't know how well it will show up on camera, but it's this green with kind of like rainbow heathering. And so it kind of reads kind of green, kind of maybe a little bit brown, but still with this rainbow heathering underneath, which makes it really fun, really playful. And I work in a lab in this kind of more corporate setting. And I feel like I normally gravitate towards, you know, right now I'm doing a lot of greens, but I love color. I love knitting with really fun, multicolored bright stuff. But I've made a lot of like pink really fun sweaters and just like much more playful, definitely much more me type of sweaters, and I'm realizing there's sort of a hole to have like a little bit more serious professional. I'm in like meetings with people that you know, are all in their black or teal or, you know, gray, all male monochromatic color landscapes, and so I think sometimes it's just useful to have something where I'm like, okay, not sticking out in my like, I have like a hot pink with another hot pink like brioche like sweater that really just is like screams Barbie, screams fun, screams not corporate, not male, not boring, which, you know, all good things, but I think there's a time and place for something that's a little bit more neutral. And my hope is I can do something with this yarn that will be that while still having, I don't know, I love the rainbow heathering, I love the color, so I think it'll be fun. I think I'll enjoy working with it. But get something that's like a little bit more practical and fills a different hole in my wardrobe. So anyways, that's a ramble about the color and the justification, but I'm super excited for it. I'm still not totally sure what I want to make out of it. I was just thinking about this morning. And there's my favorite things knitwear. There's like the sweater number 26 or 28. That's like a, I'm forgetting which, but it's like a saddle shoulder crew neck kind of construction. And that, I think I would have enough yarn. There's also the Petite Nip has her like quarter zip up light, which maybe that's just the name, or maybe there's a different name I'm forgetting, and that I think I would need 1 more skein, or I would have to do some like clever cropping, I don't know, make up some yarn somewhere, do an extra small size or something. But so I'm going to decide what I want to do with that. But again, I have like 100 meters of this, so I think it's enough that I can make like a smaller sweater or like something cropped, and be fine, but it's maybe not enough to do something super oversized or like, I don't know, no cables or anything. So we'll see. But I'm super excited to have this, super excited to work with it. Again, I'm obsessed with the color, and we'll see what ends up coming out of it. And so then my final acquisition is the most exciting maybe, or most exciting to me. And so I really wanted to do Mary Ann Stevens Wild Rose Vest. I've been like eyeing it for forever. It has steeking, I think. I haven't let myself get too carried away with reading up on exactly what steeking it's gonna be, because I think that would stress me out. I've never steeked before, and I feel like then I would be, I don't know. I don't want to go in with reservations. I just want to make it. We're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be good. And I was trying to see, okay, can I come up with a color palette I really like myself and like get all the yarn amounts? And I was really like not feeling confident in my ability to get all the right yarn amounts. I do physics as my job. I do physics research. In theory, my major in college has math in the name. And yet doing basic multiplication and addition of yarn quantities is still something I really struggle with. And so especially for something like this where there's just so many colors, and I really just, don't want to be playing yarn chicken, or don't want to get, I don't know, I just want to do it right. I decided to end up going with Mary Ann Stevens yarn kit for the vest. And so it's all packaged up, still in the package wrap, which is maybe not the cutest. But I'm super excited. You can sort of get a vision of the color palette. It's the same color palette she did, save I think. It's a slightly different white. And I'll maybe insert photos of what the final vest looks like. But yeah, I'm just so excited to work with this. This is the Jamison Shetland Spindrift yarn. So it should be a really rustic yarn, which I haven't worked with this exact brand before. I know that it's like really popular for doing a lot of Fair Isle knitting. And yeah, no, I'm just super excited. I think that it's a beautiful pattern. I have a gift knit that I need to get through, and then I'm telling myself I need to get through my current whips, which, I think all should go pretty quickly at this point before I can cast this on, but I'm really excited to cast it on. Again, it's just been sort of a dream knit for a while now. And so I think it should be really fun. I'm really excited. Hopefully we'll get to share that with you guys soon. But yeah. Thank you. I think that's all I have for today.